Of course, there are many things out there that we want to achieve. To be more healthier, to be more fitter, to be more creative. And in a way we are knowing this, it is easy in our times to be it, to live it and to get it done. But there is a part in us that is keeping us away from it. A part of us that is just repelling us from the work we have to do. This procrastination is really a heavy burden, and everybody of us is knowing how it feels. But in a way, it's something that is not a part of us. When you're looking at children, you will see that in a way they don't procrastinate, they are just doing things. And I think from children we can learn a lot. And today we will have a look how to stop procrastinating, how to unlearn this behavior that is so negative in our life. In a way, we really have to be serious about procrastination, because procrastination is the cancer of our success. We know that from people looking outside to our lives, procrastination can be something very funny, like the ways we are finding how to not to do the things that we are doing. We are checking Facebook, we are doing all the crazy things like tidying up our apartment for the third time in the week, just to avoid a work we have to do. So it has to be taken as a real serious problem, because as funny as it might be, the only thing that is really precious in our life is the time, because no matter how successful you are later, no matter how much money you have, you can't buy much more time. So when you understand that the time is the precious thing that you have in life, it's easy to really take this problem of procrastination really seriously. And it's not even a problem. As I told before, procrastination is something that we are learning. We are learning it later in our life, in school, from the adults, from our parents. And it's much more easier to unlearn this really bad habit, because that's what it is. It's just a habit that is keeping us from our success. So first we have to understand what procrastination is. We have to understand that it's just a habit. It's a kind of protection that is we have learned to have a better feeling about life. And this better feeling about life is really for a time enough. But during our development, from one point, we are seeing what we are missing in our life, what we are doing instead of being successful. First, we have to understand procrastination, because procrastination, in a way, is a protective system of our brain. Let's have a look why we don't sometimes procrastinate. When something is really fun and we are enjoying it and we know that we are doing a good job, we just love to do it, like going out, play or be creative, and when there is no pressure on us. So when you're looking direct at it, there are three components when procrastination is always starting. When we know that what we do is something that is really boring, when we know that we will get overwhelmed with this or can fail, and when we don't know exactly when a job will be good and what is a good job. So when these three things come together, we tend to procrastinate. And why? Because our brain is built to save energy. And in procrastinating, it's avoiding all the three things, because when you never get started, you can't get bored, you can't get overwhelmed, and you can't disappoint yourself and others. So we are protecting us with this kind of behavior, and in protecting us, we are pushing the work away. And most likely it is working, because in our lives there is sometimes no need to do the work, because what we are approaching in life, our life isn't depending on this. It doesn't depend if we are making this PowerPoint presentation or not. Perhaps there will be some problems, but the outcome is not so dangerous on our life. If someone would put a gun to our head, we wouldn't procrastinate, because we will overcome all the three things to get our work done, because our life is depending on this. And when you are looking at children again, you will find out that children don't procrastinate because they always do things in which you can't find the three things. First, when we are going to school, we learn to procrastinate it because it is becoming work, not play anymore, but work. We have the same outcome when we are doing our art and yoga retreats. First, the people are a little bit afraid of doing art and express themselves because they are thinking all the work that I have to do a painting, and it will get boring, or what the other people will say about this, and I don't want to disappoint myself and others. And in showing them that really you can enjoy yourself, enjoy art, enjoy doing yoga, perhaps something what you are first thinking that it's perhaps boring or overwhelming, and when you are taking away the sphere, suddenly the people are switching again in a playful mind, and it's not such a great problem anymore. So remember this, procrastination is a self-defense mechanism of our brain. In a way it's protecting us, but it's protecting us in a way that in the long term will have a bad outcome for our life and will delay our success. I think the best and the most important step that you can do to get rid of procrastination is go back to your childhood. Remember this moment when playing is becoming working. In a way, we are connecting from one point, and not doing something is being lazy. To avoid work is not to avoid it for a reason, but to be just lazy. And we are getting hammered this in our head, because from one point, this is what we want to do. This is what every human being wants to do. To express energy, to do things, must be put in a way that is efficient for someone else. So we're starting to do things, or we are forced to start to do things that are not good enough for us anymore, and we just have to do it. And so we are splitting the word from playing or just changing, expressing energy and doing stuff into two things, that some things are becoming the playing and some things are becoming the work. When you think of it, even the most lazy person, the most person that is procrastinating, there are actually things that this person is really love to do and can do it forever. And this core is indestructible. So even with the worst education you can get, you are keeping this inner core of things that you are just loving to do. No matter what it is shopping or watching TV for hours. Imagine this, just sitting for hours on one spot and watching one thing is really something that is extraordinary. If I would tell someone that is just never watching to do TV to do such thing, he would get crazy, because this would be such a hard work for him to do. So there's no such thing like procrastination or being lazy. It's something that is just was put on us, and it's put on us because of all the expectations that the parents have put on us or the teachers have put on us. They taught us to sit down and to split ourselves, split our life in something that is joyful and something that we have to go through. And these things are becoming separated. And when we don't want to do the work, they are calling us lazy, and they are in a way punished us. And from this moment, everything in our life is becoming more difficult and is becoming more stressful, because in our core we want to express all the energy, we want to get things. These fantasies and this vision of yourself and the success you have in your head are not just fantasies, they are real, because this is what we humans are doing. And our education is the one thing that have put on us this procrastination, this self-defense mechanism in our brain. And we just have to rewire ourselves again. We have to understand that we are not lazy, we are not procrastinating, we are just learned a process that is avoiding pain for us. And we learn this pain so early in our childhood, because when we are not doing our work, we will get punished. We don't get to see TV, we don't get something. And from then on, we are connecting work with punishment and something outside the work with pleasure. And it's so easy to just rewire this and to get so much better life quality. Lucky enough, the key to unlock procrastination, to get more successful, is really easy, because it has happened in our childhood. And most likely it is depending of the way we have been given love and how we receive love. Because we have a self-esteem and we want to be loved, and in doing things pleasing others like our parents or the teachers, we are getting the love and attention. So we are connecting the things that we have to do with love. In a way, when we are not doing things right, we are getting punished, in which we are not get accepted, and in this we are losing our self-esteem, the picture that we have built about ourselves, because they are starting to call us lazy. So in a way, we are getting everything done to get more love in life, and later in life this is developing to a much more huger and more complex problem, because in our society we are thinking that people that are successful, that are getting things right, they have the right power and they are loved by the life and the people around them, and people that are not so successful, they are just lazy and they are powerless and they are nothing. So I'm making this connection in judging this, and there is the problem is beginning, because our brain don't want to be on the side of the not loved people, but on the other side, or when it can't get on the other side, because we can't be all the most richest person, the most successful person in one field or on the world, we tend to saying, okay, I can't get there, I can't get the love that I will get when I'm doing all the necessary things and I am the most successful person. So instead we are saying to ourselves, okay, will get that if I would try. But in not trying right now, I'm just procrastinating also my success. So I am having the possibility to be really successful, but right now I am not doing this. And this is the self-protection system that our brain has developed to keep a path to love, to the success open, but not to do the necessary things and not taking the risk of disappointment and of failure, and to see one on the side of the losers. So all we have to remember in getting rid of procrastination is the way how our brain is protecting our self-esteem, how it wants to keep open a path to our success without taking the necessary risks. So after we have seen that procrastination in reality is just self-defense, it is much more easier to go to the next step. And the next step is really, really easy, because a part of us is just afraid of punishment. And when you understand that without failure there is no progress and there can't be any success, you are going the first step towards a free life from fear of failing, because failing is so good. I in my classes really push this really in, that you have to make all the failures there are, because you don't want to make the failure of your life in the painting of your life. So it's really necessary to do all the failure beforehand. because this is making you stronger. With every failure you are growing actually. I don't know why we have this thinking that there is a perfect way. There are no perfect ways to success. Success is actually a formula that is saying I have tried everything else. And we are always thinking that with perfection there is a prize, there is a reward. That's not true. With failures there are always rewards, because we are living in an ever-changing world right now. So something that have worked a year ago or 10 years ago or even sometimes a week ago won't work right now. So we always have to find new paths to successes, and in doing so we have to take all the failures, because our brain is built in a way in which we can only learn from our failures. When there are no failures, and in a way not a small punishment and not a reward, because we have actually figured out we are not progressing and we are not developing as human beings. So take the first step in remembering that perfection is something that is really wrong, and embrace failures, because failures are so great. Failures will make you strong. Failures is the thing that will build up in the long run a self-esteem that is not breakable, because you already know that you have gone through all the failures and you emerge from them much more stronger. In the second step, we have to learn how not to split ourselves anymore. You know this feeling, you have to do something and then we are starting to splitting up inside of us. There's a part of us that is telling us we have to do it, and the another part is thinking, how do I get rid of this work? How do I get out of here? And this is a really problem, because in splitting ourselves, actually you are just having half the energy, and the energies inside you are fighting against each other, and in this way you are crippling yourself. So really be very aware, how do you think about the things you have to do. If you are thinking, I have to do it, I must do it, there's a part of you that actually is saying, no, I don't want to do this. We are developing a dualism inside us, and even if we get ourselves from one point with hard discipline and motivation to do it, we are just working with half of our energy. So when we start to think about ourselves as a union and how to unify ourselves in our energy, it's a transformation, because now we are building so much self-esteem. We are actually knowing we have the whole energy in us to do the work. So the only thing we have to do when we want to start a work or an enterprise or a project on an artwork is to unify ourselves. And this is really easily done. We just have to be very aware of our thoughts, very aware of our inner dialogue, and just to change it. Instead of saying, I must do it, or I have to do it, just switch to something that is positive, like I can't wait actually to do it, or when can I start to do this? And start with a vision. Build up a vision in yourself that is actually doing this and having fun during the process, and when there's a task before you is really, really boring, see yourself doing something fun after the work. And it's changing our whole attitude, because we are unifying ourselves and we have the whole energy to do the task. And even during the task, if there are problems and we tend to fail, it doesn't matter, because we most likely will overcome this failure, we overcome this problem, we overcome this crisis, because we have all the energy there is in us together to overcome this problem. Otherwise, we have two problems. We have this one horse that is pulling through the work, we have the obstacles in the work, and we have a part of us that is also working against us. And two against one, we most likely will fail during the process. So our unlocking of procrastination begins also with our reprogramming ourselves, the way we are thinking about ourselves and the way we are thinking about the task beforehand. Most likely there's also a third player now in the procrastination game, because when you think about it, from one time in your life there was something changing in you that became so restless, that work have become really stress for you. And most likely this time was where the work you have procrastinated piled up to such a mountain that you always have it in the back of your mind. Not only the work that you have to do, but also the work that have just piled up, and we are feeling so overwhelmed and have the feeling that we actually don't have any control in our life. So at one point we have really to make a decision to get rid of all the past, really to get rid of all the things that are piling up, and start really every day anew. Start every day anew like there were no work that is waiting for you. Because from one point you are starting, even if you are a procrastinator, you are starting to behave like a workaholic. A person that is really restless, that is thinking about all the time about the work they have to do. Strangely enough, a workaholic have the same mindset like someone that is procrastinating. They are always thinking about the work and they are feeling uncomfortable with the work they have to do. So really, when you are feeling when you have a bad feeling about the whole work that have piled up, remember that you are sharing the same mind with someone that has really working issues, like a workaholic. But a workaholic is getting a lot of success, and you have the same mindset, the same pressure, and you have no success. So this is a strategy that is really not working for you. Instead, thinking about like this way, you can start every day anew. You can just put yourself in a mood where you can just start without thinking about the other things that you have already delayed. And when you finish your work, perhaps, and this is your decision, you can work on something that you forgot yesterday or last week or whatever. You can, even if you want, put the mountain smaller and smaller, or one day really start completely anew. But first you have to develop these habits, these joyful habits of work. And the really easy step into this is to really put yourself in the mind that fun and enjoyment is really a very important part of your work day. Because without relaxation, without charging, no work is possible. When you are staying in this mindset of working all the time and have bad feelings about the work, there is no place for rest, for relaxation, or charge yourself again. And we humans are going to a flow, through a charging point, working point, and then we have to relax. Otherwise, when you are just want to work all the time, you really won't have any pleasure in life, won't have any quality in life, and your energy is declining over time. So when you are starting every day anew and you are putting yourself times for relaxation and enjoyment, you are beginning a new pattern. You are beginning a pattern in which you are more joyful during your work, and one time your brain will connect joy with work, and then a new pattern, a new habit is beginning, and this will make your life so much easier. The most astonishing outcome I get when I'm working with people that have really issues with procrastination, but also with workaholics, is how they are starting on a really big painting. And I found out that just by putting a small piece of canvas and just putting something around this, so they just have to start with a small piece of this big canvas. They have no problem to work to the whole painting afterwards, no matter what they are thinking about themselves, no matter how fearful they are, because this is really the secret. It's not to finishing the whole painting, it's about getting started. So you can just try it out. Perhaps you are not a painter, but perhaps you can just sit in the evening and think about one thing that you want to accomplish the next day. And instead of getting overwhelmed with this, just chuck it down to small pieces. I call this baby steps. What is the first thing you have to do? And the things after this, it can be something really easy, like go to the office, sit down, turn on the computer and just open the document and read it once. This can be really the first task. Make it really simple for you. And when you also put to this task a small reward, it can be really something that is perhaps meaningless, but it has to bring you joy. I even can recommend something like drinking a glass of water and thinking about yourself, wow, I really did it. I came here, I opened this document and I read it once, and now I deserve this glass of water. This is something that will keep you going, that will build up a momentum in you, in which the second step is becoming much more easier. And in this focusing first on a small area and just getting started, you will have such a great feeling of control over your life, and it really gives you the feeling that you can accomplish something, that you are in control of your life, that this part of you that is really procrastinating, that is just wants to push you out of your work, out of your success, you can really control it and you can do something about this. And this is a great feeling. And don't overdo it. It can be just a half an hour. Really, you can set yourself a clock in which you are working 20 minutes and then relaxing. I prescribe always first to charge you up, like with 5 minutes and 10 minutes, like with a small walk and positive thinking about the task that you want to do, that you are really looking forward to do. Really trick yourself to look positive into this that you have to do. Then sit down, then just work 20 or 30 minutes and then reward yourself with 10 minutes or 15 minutes of relaxation. And the only trick afterwards is to make the spans a little bit bigger. Then charge yourself up in 10 minutes and charge you with something from which you already know that it will bring you much more energy. Then work a little bit longer, never too long. When you are working too long and you are seeing that your old patterns are kicking in again, then go back, then cut your time back then. And the same goes for the relaxation. Really do something that is relaxing you, that is really giving you this feeling of a reward. The bigger the rewards are getting, they don't have to be like really big rewards. Every time you are finishing a report, then you go for a vacation for a week. Not such thing. The small things that are just giving you the right feeling. Sit down perhaps and think about the small things that will give you really a reward, something where you are looking forward to this, because from one point your brain will rewire, it will connect this, getting energy, get things done and then rewarding to a pattern. And you can train yourself, and in short time you will overcome every kind of procrastination. I think the most funny way to get over your procrastination is to develop your own currency. Really, it's really a fun way. When you set yourself limited times where you work, you can also develop a feeling how focused you are working. You can call it a number from 1 to 10. 10 being really focused and really going through it, being really efficient. And when you understand this, that you always have a time like half an hour and a number to this, like from 1 to 10, you have a currency. With this currency, you can also buy the pleasurable things. Like you can set yourself some goals, like every day I'm working 5 units very focused on something, and you can in the end of the day put down how focused and how much effort you have put in this, a number from 1 to 10, and in the end of the day you have really a number how much you have earned during the day, how much you have really spent focused time in your work. And in this way you can also buy the pleasurable things in your life, like every day achieving a number in every work of 8 to 10 will buy you something very pleasurable in your life. Please don't forget, don't connect these things with something like eating or with drinking, intoxicating, something that is really bad for your body. But there are so many pleasurable things. Just sit down, as I was telling you before, and write the pleasurable things for you down and put a cost behind it. So when you have earned enough, you can buy you such great things like really a vacation or whatever it is necessary, the extras of your life. This is why you are working. You are working to get all the extras, and you are also working to find a place where you're actually enjoying the work, where the work is becoming the pleasure of your life. Because with time you are getting so good in your work, then your work will also shift. It will shift to something in an area where you are really good at, and you have so much pleasure in this because you want to earn more pleasurable coins. You are doing works that you are really focused in and that you are really good in. So it takes some time, but after this, your work will also shift in an area where automatically you are not only earning your pleasure coins, but the work is becoming the pleasure of your life. It's really a simple trick, but you can just try it. Check it down to clear-cut time amounts and then put a number on this, and then just spend your own currency on your own pleasures. Yesterday I was watching the yoga classes, and there was a woman that was really have problem with balance, and she was really afraid to get in these postures where you have to balance yourself. But once she found out that with every progress she's developing more balance, I was thinking that her mind has shifted. She was a very active person, but every time she was getting distracted before, she starts to talk with this person, thinking about other things, and her balance was not progressing. And this was interesting to see her mind shifting, to see her that with every time she was getting into the postures where she was gaining a little more balance, it was becoming important for her, and she was gaining more and more pleasure from this. So in a way she was building up a currency of pleasures to build up her balance. And the distractions that are coming into her exercise were becoming really annoying. And I think this is a really something that is important to keep in mind. Once we have shifted our view to a mindset where the exercises, the work we are doing are becoming important for us, important for our pleasure, important for our success, it is so much easier not to get distracted. I know there are many things like in an office where you get distracted. There are the calls coming in, colleagues want something for you, you have these great ideas. The best way to cope with this, to get the best currency out of your time frame, is to get at something where you can note down everything that is coming into your life, because you can check it later. You can finish your work and just see it later. Is this idea that came up, what I have to do, this great idea, really so great? You will find it's not such a great idea, and if it is, now you have the time to work on this. Now the colleague also have time that you can talk with this, or this very urgent thing that was so urgent before is 50 or 20 minutes not so urgent anymore. So we don't get distracted so easy. Really make the time, the focusing time in your work really precious to you. It's something where you should not get distracted, and the distractions that are coming in, find system how you can cope with this, like lock your door sometimes, or just put the telephone aside, something that you really will have the feeling of controlling your working time, because having control in your work will make you so much successful. It will give you the pleasure that you have really this time span where you are really focused, where you can have things done, and to get rid of the distractions that are sometimes an easy way to get off this work will become something that is really annoying for you, because every time you get distracted, you have this time when you have to get in the work again, and to getting into the work again is like starting all over again. It's so poisonous for our outcome, because you are not losing just 5 minutes on the talk on the telephone, you are actually losing 5 or 10 minutes after this to get yourself into the work process again, to get momentum again. So the working process is really so precious, and get into a mindset where the distractions are something that is keeping you away from your big vision, from your big success. So don't forget, procrastination and not getting your work done, not achieving your vision is not something that you have developed. It's something that was put on us, most likely in our childhood. And your uncomfortable feeling about the procrastination is showing already that you are a person that wants to get things done. But your education have wired you in a way that is keeping you from the success you really earn. So the only thing that we have to do is rewire ourselves again, really to get to the success that you have really the right to have. And don't split yourself, because in splitting yourself you are so much weaker. Perhaps the state in which you are right now, feeling powerless, feeling out of control in your life, in your project, in your work, is coming from this splitting yourself apart. And in learning to put yourself back into a union, to put yourself again in this playful work mindset, will unite all the energies inside you, and it will really make you so much successful. In just watching this video, you are already proving that there is a part in you that is just waiting for the right chance and for the right method to get into the vision, get to the mode of working that really will make your vision succeed. So just don't wait and don't punish yourself. Just develop something that is working for you, and be really patient with yourself. It is worth to work on it, because the wrong habit of procrastination, it took years to develop. So it's okay when it takes months or even years to get it back in the right state, because it's worth to put work into you, because you are so precious. You have so many ideas, so many visions that are worth to be put out there and to make so many people happy and to help so many other people.